You walked in. Just one glance. And, in that moment, everything changed. She froze. Her heart skipped. I stood there cutting onions. She stared at me and said, "You're still here?" That question hit me harder than any betrayal. Because beneath her shock, there was so much more. So many secrets, so many lies. You think you know someone, you trust someone, but then one small moment shatters it all. This is my story. How I found out she was cheating, what I felt when I saw her in the kitchen, how that question, "You're still here?" broke me, and how I rebuilt myself from the ruins. I'll take you from the first whisper of suspicion, to the confrontation, to the fallout, and finally to healing and rising stronger. This isn't just betrayal. It's discovery, self-worth, redemption. Let's begin that it all began with little changes. Subtle things you can almost ignore, late texts, phone hiding, excuses about work. At first, I told myself, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I'm being paranoid. But the gut feeling didn't leave. I'd come home, and she'd act distant. She'd avoid eye contact. Or her phone would buzz and she'd jump. I noticed missing receipts. Strange smells in her clothes. Requests for privacy in ways that weren't there before. I asked small questions. "Who texted you?" But got vague replies. Each time I brushed it off like I was being dramatic. But the truth is, small signs are often the cracks before the collapse. Every instinct I ignored was warning me. And eventually those warnings led me to the moment in the kitchen, the moment she walked in shocked. "You're still here?" That was the answer I'd been avoiding. That kitchen was supposed to be safe. Our shared space. The place we cooked together, talked about days. But that night it felt different. I was chopping vegetables, trying to calm my mind. The onion stung my eyes, but nothing hurt more than realization. She walked in after a long day. I heard the door. Footsteps. I didn't look up first. I kept working. Then I saw her stop in the threshold. Mouth slightly open. Shock. Confusion. Anger. Fear. Everything in her body frozen. And she said it. "You're still here?" Not with accusation, but disbelief. Her tone said more than the words. How could I still be here, still seeing this, still believing? And in that moment I knew. This was the point of no return. The place where truth could no longer be hidden. When she said that, my insides twisted. My heart raced. My throat went dry. I felt shame and anger, sadness and relief. All at once. Shame for what must be obvious now. Anger that she thought I didn't know. Sadness for what I lost. And relief that I no longer had to pretend. I dropped the knife. The onion juice mixed with tears. Memories flashed. Laughter in this very kitchen, dinners, Sunday breakfasts. And now this moment, betrayal, disbelief. My world cracked. I asked myself, how did I miss all this? Why did I stay blind so long? I realized I'd been holding on to hope. Hope she'd come back to me, that things would change. But sometimes hope is what keeps you trapped in pain. I needed to face reality, even when it hurts. After that moment, I could no longer ignore. I began looking for proof. Not out of malice, but out of need for clarity. I checked phone logs, looked for conversations, noticed late nights, odd messages, sudden passwords changes. I revisited what I had dismissed before. I took pictures of things she left behind, smells, receipts, messages. I talked to mutual friends quietly, asked if they saw anything. I didn't attack. I observed. I asked myself, am I imagining this? But every clue confirmed it. And with each piece of evidence, my heart sank further. But also I felt stronger, more real. Because truth, even painful, gives you power to choose. One evening, I called her in. Not in anger, but calm anger. I laid out what I'd found. All the signs. All the evidence. I said, I know you've been unfaithful. I said, why? I demanded honesty. She looked away. Tried to minimize. She blamed stress. She blamed work. She blamed me. But the proof was there. I refused to let lies hide anymore. Her tears. My questions. Her silence. My pain. It was raw and ugly, but it was necessary. Because if you don't face the betrayal, you stay stuck in confusion. And she asked me, why stay? And I said, because I need to know who I am. Because I need to choose whether this relationship deserves me. I needed to decide what comes next. Confrontation wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new phase. I had to decide, do I walk away, do I repair, do I set new boundaries? I had to do what's right for me. Healing isn't revenge. It's reclaiming your strength. I chose to leave what was toxic, to seek support from friends, family, to see a counselor, to write down my feelings. I built daily routines to ground myself. I stopped blaming myself. I learned infidelity is not an excuse. It's a choice. And I learned I deserve loyalty, honesty. I built standards for what I'll accept. I practiced saying no to disrespect. I practiced self-love when I felt worthless. Little steps every day. Rebuilding was hard. Some days I hoped she'd change. Some days I mourned what was lost. But slowly I found peace. First in small things, doing something I loved, walking alone, reading, journaling. Then in bigger things, setting goals, learning new skills, focusing on work, reclaiming my identity outside of the relationship. I rediscovered who I was before betrayal. I learned that love for yourself can be stronger than love from someone else. I learned that being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't respect you. I surrounded myself with people who uplifted me. I started trusting again, carefully with boundaries. I realized healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to grow despite the pain. That I discovered deeper truths. Relationships aren't just about love. They're about communication, trust, shared values, regular check-ins, love languages, boundaries, respect, hidden expectations, emotional safety. Without these, love can erode. Infidelity often isn't the beginning. It's the symptom. The core issues: lack of presence, unmet emotional needs, avoidance of hard talks, ignoring small pains until they become big wounds. I learned that we all carry wounds from past. We all have fears. We must communicate them. I learned that betrayal shatters not only trust, but a sense of identity. When someone cheats, you question, am I lovable? Am I enough? Am I worthy of faithfulness? Advanced healing is about rebuilding that identity, redefining who you are, what you deserve, and making sure next time you and your partner have tools to stay open, honest, vulnerable. Here's what I want you to know. If you've been betrayed, you are not broken beyond repair. If you're facing that shocking moment, her entry, the question, you're still here, you have a choice. Stay in pain or rise. You can choose healing. Choose truth. Choose to rebuild your self-worth. Choose to walk away or to forgive, on your own terms. Don't blame yourself. Seek support. Let truth guide your decisions. Don't settle for someone who doesn't respect you. And remember, betrayal can break your trust, but it doesn't have to break your future. When you face the darkest moment, you discover your strength. When you ask the hard questions, you find your path. And when you choose you, that's where the real victory begins.